Good afternoon and welcome to today's Clergy check-in for Monday, November 23rd. This past week and this coming week in our Torah portion cycle, we come upon a common theme, one of deception. We see it in last week's portion when Jacob steals first his brother's birthright, but more importantly, when he totally fools his father, who is blind, and steals the blessing designated for the firstborn. And in this week's Parashat Vayetzei, Jacob flees after his brother swears he will kill him for everything that has happened. Jacob finds himself at his uncle Laban's house, and there he is deceived by his uncle as he wished to have Rachel as his bride, but instead Laban provides him with Leah first, and then he has to work an additional 7 years to acquire Rachel's hand. We know that as the story continues, Jacob will be deceived by his sons regarding Joseph's disappearance and presumed death. And so we know that throughout the millennia, deception has been something that is part of the human fabric. It's interesting, though, as we live in this year of 2020, when we see people being devious, when people try to end run the game in terms of how they behave during this period of COVID-19. The wedding that took place in Brooklyn this past week, with potentially a turnout into the thousands, going against all city and state regulations. And in Rolla, Missouri, a town of some 20,000 people, parents coordinated a homecoming dance for 200 students indoors at a steakhouse without masks. They refused to participate in contact tracing and have evaded authorities in terms of everything that transpired on that night. We live in times where people take desperate actions to justify their frustration, their hurt, and their anger. What was most stunning, though, in the Rolla piece was not the deception itself, but the link that people made to other points in history where people have been equally mistreated. They equated, at least one person, of wearing a face mask with having to wear a Star of David during World War II. I don't think anyone here or anywhere within our community could in any way equate wearing a Star of David that designated Jews to the Germans to wearing masks that are required of everyone. And so what we do learn from Torah is that sometimes deception was a way that God played with history and enabled changes to occur that God deemed. And in other instances, it was just human cruelty that enabled others to mistreat one another. And so as we move toward this week of Thanksgiving, again we see a country divided. Again we see people frustrated and upset as more restrictions come down each day. And we pray that our humanity will always prevail, that we could always look to the light of justice and what is right to guide us in all that we do. I wish everybody a very healthy and a very safe Thanksgiving week. Have a good day.